In our animated series, Africa is not the scum of the earth. We've just shown you the largest pyramid in the world, the tallest building in the world, the longest river in the world, and the largest hot desert in the world, all built by Africans. And this is still not the biggest thing built by Africans. Welcome to the city that built the longest wall in the world. So if you think you know about the Great Wall of China, think again, because what if Africa had a wall longer than China's? And no one told you? No way. That's right. It's true. You heard that right. You're not dreaming. Let's go back in time to the Kingdom of Benin in present-day Nigeria. In the 13th century, they started digging, and by the 15th century, the Benin moat and walls were complete, spanning over 16,000 kilometers, making them the longest earthwork in the world. To put that into perspective, the next closest contender is the Great Wall of China, which is just over 20,000 kilometers long. But wait, there's more. This was not just some rudimentary barrier. Oh no, these walls were marvels of engineering, featuring 54 massive gates and 18 impressive royal palaces. And unlike the Great Wall of China, which took centuries and millions of laborers to construct, the Benin Walls were completed in just 2 centuries and without the need for a massive labor force. In fact, these walls were so well designed that they could have been built by only around 250,000 people. This means that the Benin Walls were built with roughly 5 times fewer people than the Great Wall of China. Impressive, right? But here's the kicker. While the Great Wall of China is celebrated as one of the world's greatest achievements, the Benin Walls are barely known outside of Nigeria. Why is that, you ask? Well, that's because the Benin Walls were built by Africans. Yes, that's right. If it wasn't for the color of our skin, we would have been studying the Benin Walls in school instead of the Great Wall of China. So why don't you know about the Benin Walls? Well, it's probably because the Benin Walls weren't built by Europeans or Chinese. Let me tell you why. Back then, Europe was busy with the Crusades and China was building the Ming Dynasty. Both of these continents had bigger things to worry about than a little dirt road. But the Benin Empire was thriving, and their ruler, Yoweri the Great, wanted to expand his kingdom. So he called upon his people, and they set to work. For over 200 years, they dug and piled up dirt, creating a massive wall around their capital city. The Benin Walls were not just a defensive structure, but also served as a symbol of power and prestige. They were wide enough for elephants to walk comfortably and were so tall that they could only be scaled with great difficulty. And guess what? These walls worked. When neighboring tribes tried to attack, they were repelled by the Benin's massive earthworks. But then in 1897, everything changed. Britain decided to invade and take over Benin. Why, you ask? Well, because they could. Back then, Europe was obsessed with colonialism, a fancy word for taking over other countries and exploiting their resources. The British had already taken over most of India and were looking for their next target. They had heard about the riches of Benin and wanted to get their hands on it. The British came with guns blazing, burning down the city and stealing priceless artifacts. They killed thousands of people and left many more injured. This attack was not sanctioned by the United Nations or authorized by the king. It was just plain, unadulterated thieving. But what did they steal? Well, mainly bronze sculptures, also known as Benin bronzes. These were not your ordinary sculptures. They were works of art depicting everything from kings to leopards to battles. Some were over 10 feet tall and weighed several tons. They were looted from palaces, shrines, and ordinary people's homes. And where did they go? Mostly to museums in Europe and America. Today, these bronzes are worth millions of dollars. They're considered some of the greatest works of African art ever made. And yet the people of Benin have never gotten them back. So why do you not know about Benin? Well, it's probably because the British also destroyed Benin's capital city. When they invaded, they burned down entire neighborhoods and killed or enslaved many of the city's inhabitants. The British wanted to make an example out of Benin to show other African kingdoms that they wouldn't be tolerated. And it worked. Other kingdoms fell in line and submitted to British rule. But the spirit of Benin could not be broken. Today, Benin is a city of over 1 million people. It's the capital of Edo State and one of the most important cities in Nigeria. The people of Benin are proud of their history and culture, and they are working to restore Benin's greatness. The Nigerian government is committed to returning the stolen bronzes to Nigeria. In 2021, Germany agreed to return some of the stolen bronzes and other artifacts to Nigeria. While this is just a small step towards repairing the damage done by the British, it is a step in the right direction. We've just shown you how the people of Benin built one of the world's greatest structures, but they also built a lot more. Benin was home to skilled builders who constructed impressive buildings, palaces, and shrines. Some were made of mud and thatch, while others were constructed from beautiful red sandstone. The city was also home to a bustling market where traders sold everything from food to cloth to jewelry. People from all over the kingdom came to Benin to trade and socialize. The Benin people were also great metalworkers. They created intricate jewelry and weapons as well as large-scale sculptures. These sculptures were not just decorative, but often served as symbols of power and prestige. The most famous examples are the Benin bronzes, which depict everything from kings to leopards to battles. Now it's time to look at the incredible engineering feat that went into building the Benin Walls. The walls themselves were built from packed earth and were incredibly strong. They were wide enough for elephants to walk comfortably and were so tall that they could only be scaled with great difficulty. The walls were also supported by a series of moats, which added to their strength and acted as a further defense against invaders. But perhaps the most impressive thing about the Benin Walls is that they were built without the use of modern technology. The people of Benin used simple tools such as picks, shovels, and baskets to move the dirt and pack it into place. They also had to dig through hardpan, a type of soil that is difficult to dig through. They did all of this without the use of heavy machinery or explosives. The Benin people also had to solve a number of logistical challenges. For example, they needed to find a way to transport the dirt from one place to another. They also needed to coordinate the efforts of thousands of people working on the walls. Despite these challenges, the Benin people completed the walls in just 2 centuries. This was an incredible achievement and a testament to their skill and determination. And finally, let's talk about the legacy of Benin. The Benin Empire may have fallen, but their legacy lives on. The people of Benin are proud of their history and culture, and they working to restore Benin's greatness. Today, Benin is a city of over 1 million people. It's the capital of Edo State and one of the most important cities in Nigeria. The people of Benin are proud of their history and culture, and they working to restore Benin's greatness. One way they're doing this is through cultural festivals such as the Ayo Festival. This festival celebrates the history and culture of the Benin people and features traditional dances, music, and costumes. Another way the people of Benin are keeping their culture alive is through education. Schools teach children about the history of Benin and encourage them to be proud of their heritage. But what can you do to help keep the memory of Benin alive? Well, first, you can start by educating yourself about the history of Benin. You can read books, watch documentaries, and visit museums to learn more about this fascinating empire. You can also support organizations that are working to return the stolen Benin bronzes to Nigeria. Finally, you can spread the word about Benin to your friends and family. The more people who know about Benin, the more likely it is that this fascinating empire will be remembered for centuries to come. Don't let ancient genius be forgotten. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below to join the growing community of people who love to learn about Africa's rich history and vibrant culture. With each new episode, we bring you closer to the fascinating past of our continent, allowing you to discover the untold stories that shaped the world we live in today. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time and for your unwavering support. Together, we can continue to explore and celebrate the incredible heritage of Africa. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.